Well, hello internet. Here we are with a little bit of a video. Well, with my new apartment, I find myself in need of a surface that I can do my paintings on and my other projects. In the past, I did my paintings on my deep freeze that was about 30 inches wide and 24 inches deep. And when I did the acrylic pouring paintings, I used a card table that was roughly 36 by 36. Now, since I have moved to the new apartment here, the deep freeze is now in another room, and I find myself needing a little bit more space than what I once had for my projects and hobbies and things like that. Recently, in the Princess Auto Flyer, they had themselves a workbench advertised. This one here is called a Storage Works workbench. The measurements of this here workbench are 65 inches long and 23 3/5 tall, and a little bit over 23 inches wide, and a little bit over 23 inches deep, if you want to say, and about 33.5 inches tall. So it's just shy of the 24-inch mark, but again, bigger than the deep freeze was width-wise. Heavy-duty steel frame, tubular steel legs with angle brackets to ensure stability, and does support up to 440 pounds. Perfect solution for those looking for a sturdy, natural work surface. Now, in their flyer, they claimed that this thing was 34 inches deep. Now, coming to the measurements here, it is only 23, or just shy of 24, so that is narrower than I was looking for. However, for the price that I paid of, I believe, $80, a guy can work with what he has and potentially revisit and make himself a new top for it in the future. The top on this workbench, they call it a massive wood working plate. The top on this workbench appears to be some kind of laminated together, not sure if it's pine or spruce or hardwood top. I'm hoping that it is of good quality. I'm hoping that it'll last and not delaminate, because, well, this is one of the things that makes the workbench worth buying. Now, I had considered building my own. However, with my limited tools that I currently have and the space to do the cutting and all the noisy work being virtually non-existent, buying something is quite often the better solution than annoying your neighbors with saws, hammers, and drills and all that good stuff that comes with it. So let's cut into her and well, see what she looks like. So after the tape is cut and she's flipped back right side up according to the little arrows in the corner, let's open her up, get our first look at this storage workbench. So right off the bat, there is your standard instructions we got here. Little metal tabs zip tied to a frame. Looks like we got two leg sections and two cross pieces here. Down the end we have a bag of hardware. Looks like pan head screws, some flat washers, and some bolts. You got some nylon locking nuts here and 3 or 4 zip ties. So I'm going to take this thing out of the box, have a look at everything, make sure there's no damage to the top. Make sure that all the metal is in good shape in there. Make sure the cross supports aren't damaged. And take a closer look at the top itself. Looks like they're finger jointed laminated strips that have been glued together. And see what the underside of this looks like as well. Okay, so now that I got things exposed, undone, semi out of the package, I've noticed that there are screw holes in the bottom side of this top. So that must mean that this is the bottom side that the legs attach to. You got two cross pieces here that X across the back to give it stability. These 4 tab thingies are apparently stability shims that go under the legs to compensate for uneven floors. We got 5 nylock locking nuts here, a little whatever this is 3/4 inch bolt, a little short bolt, 4 longer bolts. I'm gonna assume that these are what bolt the X to the frame itself. A little selection of flat washers and 8 pan head screws. This is what holds the legs to the top itself. Now you will need 2 crescent wrenches and a large Phillips screwdriver to make this happen. Now you probably could use a socket set and or a nut driver to speed up the assembly. However, once again, I'm working with minimal tools and this is what I have at hand. So first thing I'm going to do is get the legs assembled onto the top. Okay, so I've got both the legs attached to the table, or the bottom side of the work surface, using the manual Phillips screwdriver. There was only 3 holes or 6 screws used so far to attach the legs to the bottom side of the tabletop. I'm not sure why they gave me or gave 2 extra. Maybe if you lose one or strip one, you got spares. When you are putting the legs on, you need to be aware of where the screw holes are. When you're putting the legs onto the top, if this camera will show it, there is a hole here that goes all the way through, and there is another hole underneath this piece of cardboard that goes all the way through. These are the holes that the cross brace attaches to, and you want to make sure both of those, or both the legs, are orientated in same side so the holes match. It doesn't appear to be any specific way the legs point, as long as they're both pointing the same direction. So once again, I'm going to attach the cross pieces, see how well they assemble, and then do another check-in. Okay, so I got the cross pieces all installed, bolted in 4 locations. and then bolted in at the cross in the 5th location. The hardware went together really well. There was no stripped or bad sections of the bolts. Most of the time with some of these I get my own hardware, but this time it was fairly decent. Taking a look at the legs, they are a hollow channel. If you're using this on a hardwood floor or linoleum floor, you may want to get some kind of rubber foot to keep any gouging or damage to the flooring. But a concrete floor, as long as it's not epoxy or something, should be able to handle this. I would recommend a little soft rubber foot just for an ounce of protection. Now this one went together with 3 simple tools, 2 crescent wrenches and 1 screwdriver. Once again, you could use a drill, you could use a driver, you could use, a couple of flat wrenches if you choose. I'm using what I have, and well, it went together really well. Upon assembly, I do notice some cracking on the underside of the top here. However, it doesn't go all the way through, so I guess that is a good thing. So gonna flip her onto its feet and get rid of the cardboard, and then we can have a final look at it and see what the top of this workbench looks like. Okay, there we go. She is right side up, sitting on the ground. It's all nice and level. I'm not on a concrete floor. I'm on a house floor, so most of the time they are pretty decent. The top looks okay. There is a couple of divots in there, like the box was dropped, or maybe it's just from the wood they used. Finger jointed material, laminated together. There are some cracks, some blemishes, some imperfections. However, keeping in mind, this is not a dining room table, this is a workbench. If you're looking for perfection, then you wouldn't be paying $80 for a workbench. You'd be paying $800 for some kind of custom made unit. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a very, very strong 9 3/4. The only reason why I give it a 10 is it would have been nice for it to have been, the stated depth that it was in the flyer. Then that way it wouldn't be this narrow, slightly shorter than 24 inches. But we can remedy that in the future, and well, it'll be what it is. It'll be interesting to see how this workbench stands up, how it lasts, and how difficult it is for me to work on doing my acrylic pour paintings, where I do need slightly more room than the 24 inches allows. But we will do another check-in in the future on this here item. Hopefully all goes well. I thank y'all for watching, and as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.